Wow. So, BBC's Sherlock. Okay, so the show Sherlock is a British television series that is essentially, well, a modern take on Sherlock Holmes. Now, when I first heard about this, I was like, okay, cool, I'll get to it eventually. I am a Sherlock Holmes fan, and so when all of a sudden this show got a lot of buzz, I was like, oh, I'll check it out. I just got to the bottom of my list. I haven't seen it on TV, of course, but wow, what was I missing? So this is, as I said, a modern take on the Sherlock Holmes story. So some classic Sherlock Holmes tales are told, and I'm covering season 1 right now, or as the British say, series 1, which means that I finished that last night. If I look like crap, it's because I stayed up all night watching it, because you cannot stop watching the show BBC Sherlock. This show is simply fantastic. Okay, so it's inevitable that there's going to be comparisons to the Guy Ritchie Hollywood films. And you know, the more you watch the show Sherlock, the more you really don't care about the Sherlock Holmes done by Guy Ritchie. I am not saying that Guy Ritchie's Sherlock Holmes is bad. It is not bad. In fact, it is pretty entertaining. But the simple fact is, this is just the real Sherlock Holmes. This Sherlock Holmes feels real. The other one feels like a movie. This one you sit there going, I kind of want to go to England on Baker Street and meet this guy. Sherlock is played by Benedict Cumberbatch. Now, those of us in America who haven't seen him often know that he is John Harrison, or ergo, the villain of Star Trek Into Darkness. So that also helped incline me to watch the show faster. And, you know, he plays Sherlock Holmes better than anybody I think has ever played Sherlock ever. Of course, I love Sherlock Holmes' arrogance in the show. I mean, there's some spots where he is just sitting there and goes, alright, I need everybody in the room to just shut up, and you over there, just turn around, because you're making everybody else stupid. It's just like, you sit there and you go, oh my god, he just said that to everyone, and then they all do it. The comedic timing is hilarious. The just moments where Sherlock Holmes is essentially just saying, you know, I am better. You don't disagree with him. You're sitting there going, wow, that's kind of arrogant, dude, but you're right. Alright, I'll shut up now. Sherlock is kind of an introvert, and I think that taking Watson and making him a blogger was an interesting take, because really the Sherlock Holmes books are from Watson's perspective, of his journal writings, which I think was awesome, and I was like, wow, that is a really, really interesting detail. So they did that, and it really just is a great modern take. You see little cliff notes, you see little things that, like, Sherlock Holmes is picking something up. He's like, I am holding this pen, and obviously it was what, and then it doesn't necessarily go through his brain processes. They do that, but I think the most interesting thing is they'll, like, zoom in on the pen, and then little, like, notes pop up, and then they, like, show what Sherlock Holmes is deducting from those. So you really feel like you're almost getting a lesson in deduction, and it makes you feel all smart. Now, from a person who wants to be a filmmaker, from a filmmaker's perspective, oh my god, the cinematography is just amazing. The cinematography in this show is unparalleled for most TV shows. Breaking Bad, to me, had some of the best cinematography ever, and this show beats it. I mean, every shot is gorgeous. I mean, there's some shots with, like, the way lights are hitting people's faces when they're investigating stuff. It takes the everyday and realizes it. There has to be an arch nemesis to Sherlock Holmes, so of course Professor Moriarty is in it. And Professor Moriarty was my one real complaint, because I wasn't really sure the direction that Moriarty was going in. Moriarty was, without spoiling it, kind of a little too flamboyant for my taste, because Moriarty is supposed to be his arch nemesis, and the way they were playing him up to be, I was expecting just a darker character, and he is dark. It's just, he's not the dark I was thinking about. I mean, the third episode, the finale of this, you are just sitting there biting your nails the entire time because the tensity of, or the tension, the sheer tension of the episode is unrelenting. The first shot of it, it just starts out as usual Sherlock Holmesness, and then all of a sudden, it just gets real. And then you're sitting there just going... And when the series ends, I don't know how all of you in Britain, when you watched this, sat there and just dealt with the fact of how the series 1 ended. I don't know how closely series 2 followed up, but wow! Wow! I am speechless during part of this review because this is really hard to discuss because it's just like, you know, I don't want to spoil anything because it's a cool mystery and just everything. When he's sitting there and he's like, oh, obviously that doesn't make sense, and you're sitting there going, okay, how doesn't it make sense? And then he goes on these details about how people statistically do certain things, and he just goes on these really fast long rants like this, and it goes fast, and he talks about really cool factual stuff, and he's just keep going and going and going and going, and you're just like, okay, Sherlock, wow. Alright, so, well filmed, very well acted. I'm gonna give this a 95% because this is essentially one of the greatest TV shows I've ever watched. I mean, this is the pinnacle of Sherlock Holmes to me. It's only 3 episodes long for Series 1. I'm gonna delve into Series 2 now, so I will be back on here in a sec. Alright, my question for you is, what is your favorite Sherlock Holmes rendition? And yes, you can say Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century because you know you love Watson's cyborg arm. Alright, I'll see you on Series 2, people.